Hi all. Right, welcome to Carrier Battle Philippine Sea. This is by John Southard, the designer, and published by Compass Games. Um, yeah, I've been meaning to try something new for a while. This has been hovering about. I've had it for quite some time now. Just try to get through the rules. It's quite rulesy, which is what I like, but it does take time to try and grasp what's all going on. Pretty decent rule book, and it's got some smaller scenarios, which I've played through. 1 to 4. There's 5 introductory scenarios that just learn you the game. I got to scenario 4, and I was realizing what I was doing. I didn't have to play through it. I think 3 and 4 you sort of cut it short a bit when you realize what it's trying to achieve. I didn't play through scenario 5 because I believe that's more about, well, I dare say it introduces new concepts that haven't been brought in yet. But what I thought I would do is I still haven't read through the comprehensive example of play, which is the start of the playbook. It's quite a few pages long. It introduces the first couple of turns, I think. Is it the first couple of days? The opening 2 turns of scenario 6, which is the first full scenario. Scenario 6 is the first full one. So the comprehensive example of play, and then I thought, why not maybe just press record and maybe go through that. So it's nice and easy for me. I'm reading what's happening from the actual playbook. I thought it might be useful for some people to look at that. There's a few videos out there going through the training scenarios. There's one full set of videos from Dave and his gaming cave. I've been watching through some of his stuff. I think he plays through scenario 6 and 7. So I've been watching through a bit of 6. Noticing he was starting to get a few things wrong. There's a few comments cropping up. But there is quite a lot to this. I thought I had sort of started grasping things, and then I sat down to play one of the training scenarios, and I was still getting myself all muddled up and whatever. So it's quite challenging. It was quite good though. I was starting to get into it, and thought that this could be a decent game for me. Let's say solitaire war games that are complex. That's my kind of thing. Whether that's theme, ships and planes on aircraft carriers and Pacific. I don't know. I've got Empire of the Sun there, but it's not really a solo game. I like that, so it's something along the lines. Although this is more, it's not as strategic, is it? Whatever that is. That way of looking at it, I can't work out how you strategic and tactical and all that. I'm useless with all that. Okay, so yeah, I've been away for quite a bit. I've still been recording, and I've been playtesting Fields of Fire. I got right back into Fields of Fire, and then of course they're bringing all this new content out. They were looking for playtesters. One of the developers asked me, because I'd put some video footage out, if I might be interested, and I thought, yeah, well, I've not tried that before, let us do it. And I said, is it alright if I record that? And they didn't want it out to the public, because it's I've had to print and play the counters and print out the counters and all the rules and whatever. But it's been good. But I did think that I'm going to eventually burn myself out in Fields of Fire, and I think I might have got to that sort of level. However, I do still have it set up, and I'm moving on to mission 5 out of the campaign there, and it's the Falklands War, and it's been good. Yeah, I've been really enjoying it. But I did think I might start burning out, like I say, and I think I'm maybe at that sort of stage where I need a break for sure. No, I'm not going to say that I'm going to pack it all up and be done with it. No, I'm sure I'll be back there sometime soon, but needed something else. I needed a wee change up, so thought I'd try this. So I've been through the rules. I've maybe not got completely right through the rule book, but it is pretty, I want to say, maybe 60 pages, 40, 50, into the 50s anyway. So, but anyway, so the comprehensive example of play. So here we are here, and it's on page 1 of this is, like I said, this is the playbook. It's got all the scenarios in it, and it shows you this first, and then it shows you 1 through 5, and the rest of them, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think it goes up to 9, doesn't it? But I think 6 and 7 are the main ones, and then I want to say there's maybe a couple of sort of variations, 8 and 9. I haven't really studied it. It shows you them here. Advanced scenarios, scenario 8 and 9. They're there. So like I say, 1 to 5 is just training, introductory ones. 6 and 7 are the standard, and then 8 and 9 are the advanced. And this is a comprehensive example page. So yeah, I think it's 12 pages long. So I thought, let's record this, let's go through it, and just see how it plays out. It'll hopefully help me just fully understand some of the things that I'm still a little unsure of. Especially when I thought I had it, and watching back the videos, Dave playing the game, and of course, like I say, some things he was getting wrong as well. I haven't went right through all his videos. I think I'm only on the 3rd or 4th one at the moment. So I thought, let's do this. So I've set things up. So here's, you can follow along with us if it might turn out to be helpful. It might not. So I'm going to look through this. So it says this example illustrates the opening 2 turns of scenario 6, which is the first full scenario in the game. Scenarios 1 through 5 are smaller training scenarios. It will give you a good general idea of how to play the full game and provide context while you are learning each section of the rules. So as not to interrupt the flow, this example proceeds without rules references for the most part and does not explain every detail. It should be noted that the play actions described are not intended to represent optimal play. While reading this example, it will be helpful to follow along with the turn sequence on the game turn flowchart. Right, so the fact that it's not really referencing the rules will be a little more challenging for me. The good thing about this game, they've got a quite complete game turn flowchart, sequence of play if you like, and it references all the rules on the actual each step, which is really good. I'll go across that a bit. This is a bit, it's a bit of a table hog. We've got these are the Japanese butai displays where they are, once we sort of detect their ships and whatever, these will come out here, and this is where their fighters and planes all go. We've got the map itself with some information up the top. This is anti-aircraft stuff up the top. Well, it's a general records track, but I've left the anti-aircraft counters up there because that was the last mission I played that had them, and I just left them up there. Some stuff here about Japanese arrival table. This is a Guam air display. And this side of the map's got our task groups, and this is our task force, if you like, and there's 4 task groups within the task force. This is for all our air units and to track our fuel. And there's that sequence of play. But like I say, as a table hog, I thought about maybe where I'm showing this playbook just now, about moving that onto the actual map, because I get the feeling that maybe that section of the map will not get used. But I'd like to set that example of play out there as well, so I can look at that. So I might just be leaving this down here, but I'll come across and zoom in on it. Move some of these counters out of the way. I've got a load of counters down the side here as well. So there's quite a lot involved. So and that's an initial setup, and it says down here, figure 1A above shows the initial map setup. Task Force 58. Oh, have I got it on the map? Yeah. Task Force 58 starts in hex 1408, which is there. I'll show you in the map in a minute. And the 5 US submarines have been deployed in the following hexes. There. The US carrier air groups are also set up. Each of the 7 fleet carriers is allowed to have 2 air units ready at start, and we choose to have 1 fighter F6F and 1 dive bomber SBD or SB2C each. The light carrier CVLs can have only 1 plane each. We put TBM torpedo planes on Belleau Wood and Monterey, and F6F fighters on the rest. Figure 1B shows this setup. So there's our task force, the R-58, and that's everything that we've got, all our carriers and everything in that wee counter there. There's the 5 subs that set up from the start, and there's what it's talking about, the aircraft. So in here, this is all our carriers. These are CVs. So there's 2 CVs. This is Task Group 58.1. So it's all part of Task Force 58. This is Task Group 58.1. So it's got 2 CVs and 2 CVLs, and these are white carriers, and these are fleet carriers, I think they're called. These are the big ones anyway. So we've got the Hornet, Yorktown, and then the Belleau Wood, and what's that, Bataan. So these are the CVLs, and the CVLs can only hold not quite as much. The CVs can hold 8 planes each, and when I say 8 planes, these counters represent more than one plane. What I say is it maybe 3 or 4? I'm maybe just guessing there per counter. So, but it's 8 counters they can hold. So they see there's 6 there in the actual hangars, and then there's 2 up on the flight deck. Like I say, when I say 2, I mean 2 counters. It might well tell you there. It's probably good to get an idea of if it tells you how many how many actual planes. Right, okay, I'm way off target. US air units represent 12 aircraft each, and the Japanese side of things do it slightly different. They don't have actual counters like that. They have air points. Some of that can be a bit tricky, and some of the terminology. Another good videos to watch. My Own Worst Enemy, Mike. He does some good playthroughs of the introductory scenarios 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's well worth a look. But I agree with him. I think he struggles with some of the terminology about how you've got air strikes, and you've got air raids, and you've got air intercepts, and there's a lot of different terminology. You think maybe they could have done it better, but obviously there's a lot of different things that you need to reference. So maybe a little tricky getting your head around. So yeah, that's 12 aircraft each. So we've got 24 aircrafts up on the deck at the moment, and another, wow, that's loads, isn't it? 12, 36, 72. So another 24, 90, 96 aircraft. That's a lot, eh? Didn't think there was quite that many. That's what it says. US air units represent 12 aircraft each. Okay, there you go. But the CVLs, and and there's a chart. There's lots of charts, quite a few charts. No, actually, there's the one there. There's the carrier operations limit chart. The hangar and what they can have total. They can have 8 for a CV and only 3 for a CVL. And these other bits are how many you can move through these. You move through these different areas. As you can see, the flight deck limit, you're only allowed 3 on the actual flight deck limit. Launch or land, you can only land. Yeah, there's quite a bit to go through with all that. I'm not going to go through all that. There's only 3 that they can have in total, and there's 8 that they can have. And you can see they've got the full 8 counters, and these have got 3. So that's 58.1, 58.2, 58.3, and 58.4, and they're all full. They're all complete with their aircraft. I dare say they could have had up to 3 on the flight deck, but it does say that they're allowed to start with only 2, so maybe there's some restriction at the beginning. Okay. Right, and now that's over the page, and just showing you what I've shown you. That's the setup for that. So, and it does have 4 intercept missions set up the top here with the fuel markers all ready to go. But there's nothing I think we're getting to that. I think. So here we go. At the start of each turn, we make up an activation chit cup which will indicate when each force moves and when certain other actions occur. So step 1 there. In each turn, 1/3 of the available Japanese forces arrive. Since nothing is yet in play, all 20 are available. So 6 of these, which is a third, so 6 of these arrive. We take out Japanese forces A through F and put the corresponding activation chits, dark red background, into the activation cup. Each of these corresponds to a force unit, aquamarine and white background, which will go on the map. And then it shows you the 2 there. So there's the 2 sets of counters there it's talking about. These are the ones that actually go on the map, and these are the ones that go in the cup. These get drawn out of a cup. So there's 20 forces. I might say we take 1/3 of them in each turn. So 1/3 of the 20 is 6. So we're just going to take them out alphabetical order. I don't think it matters how you take them out, but obviously we're as well going. It's saying we bring out A to F. So I'm going to bring A to F out of there, and then I've got another cup here. So I'm going to put A to F in this cup. So let me do that. Right, so that's A to F in the cup to get started. Right, and there's also another couple of counters that go in the cup. And it tells us here we also add the chits for US move. Where's that? US move. That's allow us to make a move with our force. That goes in the cup. And US subs, which allows us to move the submarines that are out there. That goes in the cup. And then Guam is the last one. And that's one that's not so good for us, because that means that they have a chance of launching a land air raid from Guam, which is just to the east of where our task force is. So they're the 3 chits there that they go in additionally. There's also some optional chits that you can add if you're playing. There's an Iwo Jima and a Peleliu chit, but that's only if you're playing some optional rule, which I take it is not involved here. And we add 3 no-op chits to make it 12. The reason for that is there's 6 of these, and 3 of these is 9. You need to have you need to be able to divide by 4 out the cup. So that's what you use the no-ops chits, because you need to be able to draw 4 times, because there's 4 phases. So basically, you round it up to get a number divisible by 4, as it said there. We had 3 no-ops chits, and that's these here. So these 3 go in the cup as well, and I think that's all we need in there. So I'll set that aside for now. Not that I suppose I'm not going to be drawn out randomly, because I'm just going to be following this. But this is what, when I'm going to hopefully do a playthrough of this, so this is how I'll be setting up to start with. Okay, and it says this means, we had 3 no-op chits to make 12, a number divisible by 4. Players of the Carrier game, that's the original old game Carrier, which I believe was the same designer, I think anyway, it would be, yeah. I think this is just him decided to spruce it up and an advanced version of it. I believe it's quite different, but it's not a game that I ever played or was able to purchase. It was always hard to get hold of. Anyway, players of the Carrier game will be delighted to note that there are no blank chits now. They are called no-ops. Alright, must have just been a blank chit to make up the numbers. Okay, this means that 3 activation chits, 12 divided by 4, will be drawn in each action phase. So we place the chits per phase marker in the 3 box of the general records track at the top of the map. So it's up here somewhere. I've got a big stretch up to the top of the map here. I might bring it down a little bit, but that's fine just now. So does that just go on the actual... Yeah, the 3 box of the general records. So 3 chits per phase. That goes in there, just to remind us how many we're drawing. And then We put all the level 1 force chits, which are white edges, blue background, and it's got L1 in the lower right hand corner, into a second cup ready to be drawn when we need them. Now we're ready for play. And there's quite a lot of them on there. So again, I'm not going to I'm going to just be looking to draw the one out that they're going to draw. I'm not going to be. But you will randomise this when you're playing the game. So 5:30 Japanese arrival. Well, let's get started then. First, new Japanese forces arrive. The arrival hexes bear numbered circles with a rising sun symbol grouped into 4 arrival zones, zone 1 through 4, each with a distinctive colour. For each arriving force, we make 2 die rolls, the first to determine the zone and the second to determine the hex within the zone. See arrival table on map. For the first force, well, hang on just now. So there's the table we're talking about there. So we're going to roll a dice for each force. Right, now we've got 6 forces. And you can see there, we roll, and in whatever zone we end up, there's 4 different zones, and then there's 10 different zones within each zone, if you like. It tells you there, if arrives within 6 hexes of, with a US carrier. I just realised that when I was setting up that wee training mission, it meant that when you go through that training one, you've got to be careful. You can't set up within 6 hexes. So it says 1 to 3, select a different zone, roll again for a different hex in the same zone, place the force in the original arrival hex. Right, I actually don't think I've done that, but anyway, it tells you there if you end up in a hex, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, actually, we can. I think no, I don't think we can because our task force is further back. I don't think there's any zones that we could arrive at within 6 hexes. So, and there's the 4 zones. This is zone 1 up here, and it's a circle round it, which is hard to see from a distance, but that one's red. This is zone 2. These are black. These are blue. This is zone 3, and this is zone 4, which is kind of orange roundabout. And you can see that there's 10 different zones within each zone. Again, it might have been better different calling these because these are a zone within zones. But it's not difficult, that one, to be honest. So it says here for the first force we roll 2, and if we look up on that chart, it tells us that a 1 or a 2 is going to be in zone 1. So it's zone 1 and then a 3, so that's going to go in zone 3 within zone 1, resulting in hex 0708. So force A is placed in hex 0708. Note, in this game a roll of 0 is always read as a 10. And then repeating this process for each of the other 5 forces, this is the rolls that they end up with. So it's just showing you the hex numbers there, and the positions are shown in figure 2. So that's where they should all end up. So I will go and place them all there now. Right, so that's all the 6 forces being placed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6th one is there. Okay, 5:30, action phase 1. And we've got our game turn marker in the box up there. 5:30 on June the 19th. The turn proceeds in 4 identical action phases. Normally the first thing to do in each phase is move Japanese air raids, but there aren't any in play. Next we make a single die roll for mission movement, which comes up as a 5. Okay, so I'll just take a dice here and mark, put a little 5 there out in the map. This will govern mission moves in this phase. Mission moves are what the Japanese do when not in proximity to US task forces. In other words, they are governed by their mission instead of reacting to forces nearby. Next we draw, well, hang on a second. Yeah, it's a pain this being a way along here, to be honest. I'd like to put that in a better position. I wonder if I should put the boot-eye displays over that side. Then again, we want to be looking at them as well. So there's a segment, and that works its way through this flowchart. There's our 4 action phases. So once we get to the end of all these, well, this part we carry out once per day, per turn. And then once we move into this part, this is action phase, we carry out this right down to here for action phase 1. Then we go back to the top and work our way through again. Left to right, top to bottom, action phase 2. And then we do that 4 times. And then once we get down here, there's this end phase, advanced game turn marker. And then we go back to this section again. So the first bit is... yeah, that's annoying, this. It's not in a good place. So place new Japanese forces. Well, we've done that. Full sequence chip cup. Well, we've done that. Adjust chips per phase marker. Well, that's to make sure that you've got a multiple of 4 in each in your cup, so that you can then carry out the 4 phases, and you draw, like I say, we've got 12, so we're going to draw 3 each phase. So then we move all air raids. And that's what they said. There's no air raids on the map yet, so we then move down to this. So roll for mission movement. We've done that. We've got a 5. And then draw a sequence chit. So that's where we're at just now. So that would be drawn out of this chit cup that we've made, and it's got 12 counters. And we're going to draw 3 of them. So what does it say we draw? There we go. Next we draw 3 activation chits. Chits are actually resolved 1 at a time, so we draw them in sequence. Yeah, so you've got to draw 1, and it was a good point somebody made. Again, watching Dave's videos, he was just drawing them all out at once. It was maybe doing them in the order that it came out, but if you know what the third one's going to be when you draw the other 2, and maybe you've got the US move in there, or the sub one, if you draw all 3 of them out, you would kind of know you would have some advanced knowledge of what was maybe going to happen. So I think you need to draw them one at a time. But I suppose this is all set up. So yeah. In actual fact, we should draw the first one, and we get A, right? So I'm assuming that's the one that is drawn first, the way they've got that set out there. So I need A and then B. And then what is it? A no-op. But you would draw these, like I said, 1 at a time. So we would draw A, and then we would, I think, resolve that before we then draw B, and then we would resolve that, and then until we draw the third one, and we draw a no-op. But it's just sent out here. So, and the no-op chit is just ignored, so I think we just set that aside. Now, that doesn't go back in the cup, also. We'll need to cycle through these. So we set that aside somewhere we know we're going to remember to put it back in. Well, it might not automatically go back in, actually, the no-ops, because you've then got to, again, calculate the cup so it's divisible by 4 again. Anyway, neither Force A nor Force B is within the range needed to try launching an air attack this turn, so they each move 1 hex with mission movement. Right, let's have a wee look at that first. Okay, and what that means is we've got Force A and B that have been activated. Well, we're doing them in that order, Force A first. And we need to see if they could generate a raid. Well, we're on the 5:30 game turn at the moment, and the maximum range is going to be 5 hexes. So they would need to be within just 5 hexes to be able to launch a raid. And as we can see, Force A is there. He's actually not too far away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's 7 hexes away. So he's not able to do it. And B is away down here. And he's a bit further. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hexes away. So that's why they're skipping by that. But that was the rule that we would need to... Well, we just need to be aware about what... You can see if it was a 6:50 game turn, 8 hexes... Force A would be in range, so we would consider generating an air raid. I think it depends. We've got to find out what this is and whatever. We'll get to that. Okay, so they're not within range, as it says. Neither Force A nor Force B is within the range needed to try launching an air attack this turn, so they each move 1 hex with mission movement. So it carries on. The map is divided into zones, dashed lines, and each is a compass. and in each is a compass, sorry. The Japanese carrier symbol. The moves are resolved as follows. So, Force A is in hex 0708. The compass in this zone is in hex 0907. For a die roll of 5 at point southeast, Force A moves to hex 0808. Force B is in hex 2309. The compass for this its zone is in hex 2010. For a die roll of 5 at points due northeast, Force B moves to hex 2209. The no op chit is ignored, nothing happens. So let's look at that. So we're looking at Force A first, and that was our die roll for movement. So they get to move. They just move one hex. So he's on. They're separated by the diagonal, the dashed lines. Dashed lines. That's it. So, although this is also a dash, counted as a dash line, I think. So it says that Force A is in hex 0708, right? The compass in this zone is in hex 0907, which is here. And you see the compass, and it's got 1 to 5 that way, 6 to 10 that way. So if it was a roll of 1 to 5, it would move southeast. If it was a roll of 6 to 10, it would move east. So it points southeast, so he moves 1 hex southeast. Yeah. And he's actually now moved 1 hex closer to Task Force 58. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's only 6 away now. Although what it still needs, 5 to be able to do it. And then Force B, again, we use the same, still using the same die roll, as in hex 2309. Its compass is on 2010, so it's there. If I just zoom out a little bit, you can see that's its zone that it's checking. So that's a compass in its zone. A 1 to 5 is going northeast, so it moves 1 hex northeast, moving towards. I think they're generally, and at the start, I want to say later on in the game, I think they want to move further away, because once the US become the aggressor, then things shift. But at the moment, this is where they're wanting to move to. This is the invasion zone. And if they actually get to this area and get off the map, we're going to lose victory points, etc. Okay, so that's the 2 movement. And then, so that was that chit resolved, and the B chit, and the no op chit. I should probably put them somewhere. Right, I'll lay them down at the corner here, the corner of the map somewhere. Okay. Alright, so then it carries on. Next would be the US Air Movement segment, but there are no US Air missions in play yet. The game turn flowcharts list every segment and step and lets you record progress through the turn. It's essential to put this in place so you can easily read it. Yeah, it's bothering me that it's away over there, but following this segment, we decide to exercise our once per turn option for a search segment. We launch 4 searches of 1 SB2C each, using the strike planes ready on the decks of the CVs Hornet, Yorktown, Bunker Hill and Wasp in Task Group 58.1 and Task Group 58.2. Okay, so just jumping back to the sequence of play. That was when we went through the air raid procedure, there wasn't anything within range to launch. Then we moved each force 1 hex that was drawn out the chit, or drawn out the cup. These are things that would have happened: remove US advantage, reduce detection status, which we'll get to, air return turnaround, and then I think they are Guam, or Iwo Jima, resolve air raid procedure. Yeah, okay, we went through them. Anyway, we're now on to here, move air missions, where there's no air missions, and we don't need to adjust any fuel, obviously. So now this is the bit that I was talking about. We're in a search segment. Now we can only do this once per turn. So this is a part that doesn't happen every one of the 4 phases. It's just once per turn. So we're choosing to do that now. Just get started and get on with it. So initiate air searches. So that's where we're at now. Okay, so it said it was going to launch. What was it again? We launched 4 searches of 1 SB2C each, using the strike planes ready on the decks of the CV's Hornet. So Hornet, so we're taking that SB2C, I'll just put it out there on the map just now. The Yorktown, SB2C, and you want to use them rather than the fighters. I think there's a negative modifier using fighters, for instance, and the SB2Cs compared to the SBDs, I've got slightly less strength, so you're as well on them going to do the searching. What's the other ones? Bunker Hill and Wasp. So yeah, so over here we've got Bunker Hill and Wasp. Right, so we're launching all 4 of them as search missions. So this is initiate air searches, rule 8.27. Okay. Right, search works by assigning a destination hex and moving the search planes towards it each turn, searching as they go. So our searches are due north, destination hex 0408, search plane moves to 1208, and then the other 3 are doing something similar. So let me show you that. Right, okay, so we've got our 4 search planes ready to set up. So the first one, they all come out off the task force, obviously. So the first one's going to go due north, so its destination hex is going to be 0408. So we've got markers here. This is our, now I think they're all standard searches, aren't they? Does it say they are? Because there is, you can have standard or a narrow search, but I think they're all standard. I think this seems to be the better option. Well, maybe when you get better at when you know the game better, it might be that you do a narrow search. A narrow search only allows you to detect on the hexes that you go through, but you can go further, whereas that search gives you a 60-degree search, so you can see anything within that 60 degrees, which is rather tricky to work out, to be honest. We'll get there in a minute, but as I'm reading it off this and not having to work it out myself, it's not going to be. I'm just going to read what they're saying. So what is it? 0408. So it should be 10 hexes away from here. It's going right north. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is 0408. So we put that here. So that's where max radius 1. Now what you are actually meant to do as well is mark where the origin of number 1 is, and it should actually go here. I don't think they put them on there because you need to mark that hex, because if our task force does move, which it can do, then we need to leave that hex marked because that's relevant to the actual search. That's the actual search line, if you like. So I don't think they put them on there. My guess is the task force is probably not going to move and I'm not bothered. So that's 10 hexes away. So the aircraft goes, the search plane moves to 1208. So initially when you launch it, it gets to move 2 hexes, so it moves 1, 2, and it just goes, I mean obviously as it's moving, it needs to move through either one of these 2 because it's starting up the spine of the hex there. So it'll move there, and at the moment it can only detect these hexes round about it. I think it's only these 2 actually. It's really quite difficult to do, and if you watch My Own Worst Enemies playthrough, Mike comes up with a very clever idea of having an overlay. It's on a clear bit of plastic paper or whatever it is, and he's marked it out, and I think I might have to try and work something like that out myself, because how they expect you to see. Well, you'll see it in a minute when I show you it in the rulebook. Maybe it's not so easy to work out, shall we say? When there's not enough water in the map just now, but I could see it getting harder the more cluttered things get. But anyway, we're just following an example just now. Anyway, so that one goes there. It's going north, and we've got 4 of them. And the next one's west by north, destination hex 0915. So I think it's going, is it this way? 1, 2, no, hang on, let me look. No, it's actually going up the spine as well, so it's going this way. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 0915 up there. Let me just grab the marker in that. So that's number 2, and the aircraft obviously coming out of there moves 1, 2. It should be into hex 1309, and it's pointing up the spine as well. Is that right? Yeah. Destination hex 0915. Search plane moves to 1309, and then west by south. Destination hex is 1915. Again, I think they're all coming. They're all going down the spine actually. They don't have to. What chart is that on? There, it's there. That's how you do your searches. So they either have to come out up the spine of the hex, or they can go through the hex like that. That's all your options there. And when you send it out that way, like I say, it covers the whole 60 degrees. But because there's 1, 2, 3 different ranges of search, that's what makes it hard about how to decide what you're searching. Because if you went through this range, you can search all of these hexes. I don't know, maybe this could make it work, but I don't know, because when you're in there, I think it's more than just day hexes that you can search, is it not? Does it not come down? I can't remember. It shows you in the rule book, and I'll come to it once we do a search actually. So the next one's coming down that way. Its destination was, what did I say, 1915. This is number 3. 1915. Well, 1915 is down there. So if that was coming out there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that works. So that plane, and you point them. Well, you don't need to. It says in the rules you don't need to. Technically, it doesn't matter, but it makes sense to show that they're flying that way, doesn't it? So that's 1, 2. So that's him in there. Let's say they always start by moving 2 hexes. Now the next turn they move 4 hexes, then 4 again. That gets them to the 10, and then they just come back 4, 4, and then 2 again to come back. Okay, and then the last one, due south, destination hex 2408. So this is number 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 2408. And there's our final SP2C. 1, 2, coming out there. So we're fine. 4 flights going that way to try and search the waters, looking for some targets. And it finishes off there. All the above brings us to the situation shown in figure 3. And there's figure 3. And that should be what I've got on the map right now. You can see the task force, the 4 aircrafts, and there's their max radius markers. There, and down there. Yeah. Okay. So just a quick look at the sequence of play. So what we did was we initiated our searches. That was us launching the aircraft and moving them to 2. Well, actually, no, sorry, that was launching them, and then we move them. I think you get to move them the 2 on launch anyway, but maybe not. Maybe that is launch and then move. We can't. There's nothing that we can search to find, and then adjust commitment index. Well, I've not dealt with any of that yet, but we'll get to that as well. So now we come down to US Air Operations segment. And this is where we do stuff on our carriers and all the different bays. We can launch, we can move them from servicing to ready, we can move them from a hangar to servicing, or we can lower them from the flight deck to the hangar, or we could land some aircraft. So let's just see what it's saying about that now. Right, okay, so now we have the US Air Operations segment. In this part of the action phase, we can launch, land, and service planes on the US carriers. One thing we want to do is get some fighters over Guam as soon as possible to suppress any Japanese land-based air activity there. Yeah, because you notice the chit that's in the cup is Guam, and if we draw that, there's a chance that they'll launch a land-based air raid on our task force. So we want to try and avoid that, and it's more avoidable if we put flights we put fighters, aircraft over Guam. It makes it harder for them to do that. So it says we launched 3 fighter units from Hornet, Yorktown and Bataan off TG 58.1 and placed them in Intercept Mission 1, placing the counter for same on the map. The endurance of F6F units is 16, so we set the fuel marker for the mission on its +10 side in the 6 box of the fuel track. We then move the mission to hex 1501. Only 1 hex movement is allowed at launch time, and move the fuel marker 1 box down the track to 15. Okay, right. So we're getting our 3 fighters from Hornet, Yorktown, and Bataan. That one's not a fighter, yeah. So we're going to grab these 3. Right, and this is us in our launch segment of the air operations, right? And we're going to launch them as Intercept Mission 1. Okay? So we put these 3 aircraft in here. We're going to take that Intercept Mission 1 away. These 3 are there. This is going to go on the map. I'll show you that in a minute. And then the fuel, because all their endurance is 16, you take the lowest of the bunch. So it's at 16, so that flips over to its +10 side. And then we move that out to the 6. So he's got 16 fuel. Or they've got 16 fuel. So, and then Intercept Mission 1, he starts in the actual hex. He's just launched off the carriers. Oops, I'm not showing you that. Sorry. Right, so he's in TF58 hex. He's come from TF58, task group 58.1. And then we move, because when you first launch, you can only move 1 hex. At other times, there's a possibility you can move 2 hexes. You've got an option to move 2 hexes. But with this move, sorry, this table's a bit creaky. I'm on the other table. I've still got Fields of Fire set up there. I don't know if that's making an annoying noise or not. It's annoying me a little bit, so I'll just need to persevere. So then once he goes into there, we can move him 1 hex, and we want to move him towards Guam. Guam's down here, so they're moving it into 1507. So Intercept Mission 1. I won't turn these round. They are shown on the map like that, but I think I'll leave these like that because I know what I'm wanting to do with it. So that's 1507, isn't it? Yeah. So that moves down to there, and obviously that will cost 1 fuel. I'll just stretch away up there and move that down to 5. Now, and well, you'll see it in future turns about the 2 hex move and how it affects the fuel. Yeah, fuel's a huge thing. It obviously was a huge thing back then, and you can see it. One of the scenarios, I want to say, is it the second one that you do, the second training scenario? You actually see what they had to actually go through, and my game of it, a lot of them did not make it back. A lot of the aircraft ran out of fuel, basically. Well, they attempted to land, but the longer you get with critical fuel, you move into critical fuel, and the longer you get that, the less chance you're going to succeed at landing safely. So, okay, so that's that. So next we launch a second intercept mission. So this is going to be intercept number 2, to be combat air patrol over Task Force 58. We put 3 fighter units in this mission, which I want to say the rule is for a CAP mission you can only have 3. For that first intercept mission that we created, I want to say that it's... No, I don't want to say it's unlimited, but you're not restricted to 3. You are restricted to 3 with a cap. I definitely remember reading that in the rules recently. Well, hopefully. So, we put 3 fighter units in this mission from Bunker Hill, Wasp and Cabot of TG 58.2 and put the mission's counter in the cap box. It can be with any of the task groups, so we'll use 58.2. Okay. Right, okay, that's quite interesting then. That's something that's I hadn't thought about. So we're going to use the 3 fighter units from Bunker Hill. So that's that one. Right, and he's going in this cat box, but I'll just put it there now. And then Wasp and Cabot, I don't know if that's how you pronounce that. This is Wasp. And Cabot's a CVL. So they're all going in there in the cat box. But just this, it said there, I'm putting the missions counter in the... Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, it's not that I'm putting there, is it? It's the Intercept number 2 I'm looking for. Right, okay, I've got them up on the map. I just set them up there because that's what they've done. So that one is actually goes in that cat box, and the aircraft are going to go up on Air Mission 2. Like that. Now, we don't set the fuel for that yet because it's basically just a cap. It's not actually... Well, I think it's taken off, but it's just hovering about. Is it? No, actually, I don't think it's not. It's not actually taken off. So I'm not 100% sure about that. Because you put the Intercept, you put that there and put the aircraft in the Air Mission, but you don't set the fuel. So yeah, the interesting part of that was, it says put the missions counter in the cat box. It says it can be with any of the task groups, so we'll use 58.2. So what I think that's meaning is I could have actually put that over on the 58.1 if I'd wanted to. But so I wouldn't have thought that was something you could do, but there you go. Yeah, because when these take off and all that, you'll notice on the back of these, let me just grab that one. These all come from 58.1. And all these are 58.2 and 58.3 and 58.4. But that's just to get things set up. What afterwards, they can take off and land from any of these, I think. That's my thinking of how it works. I don't think you're then restricted. Initially, that's where they go, but now when we fly them out and we fly back, if there's a space to land here and there's not a space to land there, and we've got a one from Task Group 58.1, then it's fine, you can land it there. And they can be mixed. They don't have to be an air mission just from 58.1. We can draw aircraft from all of them to start an air intercept mission or whatever from a mixture of any of these. I don't think you're tied to that either. Okay, where are we? Right, I don't want to get this video too long. Well, any of you watched my stuff before, all my videos are too long. But you know, I do this for my enjoyment. So you know, I dare say I don't get as many views as some people may get, but that's not really my purpose. It's for me to play the game, and I really need to play by the rules. I hate getting rules wrong, so I want to be slow and careful, and that's how I enjoy doing it. And it's obviously useful to some people, but maybe not to everybody's taste, is it really? And apparently my accent as well is not to everybody's taste as well, as in they can't understand it. Can't understand what I'm saying half the time. Oh, I've moved one in there. What's that? Oh no, that's fine. I can take that one. Right. Anyway, so yeah, I think I'm creeping up on an hour already. So I'll probably split this. We'll get this bit finished, and yeah, I'll probably just get this bit finished on this page, and then I'll just cut the video there. And whether I'll keep to just 2 videos, or I might creep into 3. I don't know. I mean, I'm just reading. I'm not needing to do much thinking here, but I want to go over these bits and make sure not only I'm understanding them, but if anybody else is watching it, then you're grasping what it is I'm trying to say, because it doesn't really tell you the rules through this. You've got to try and go and work that out if you're unsure about things. No doubt if you're watching this, you've probably read through the rules a bit and whatever. Right, so next we launch a second intercept mission. Yeah, because that second one... Oh, right, okay. Does the cap not... Right, sorry, Right, what have I done wrong there then? Yeah, because that isn't an intercept mission, is it? It's a cap. Oh, no. No, that's... What are you talking about? That's right. That's what we've just done. Sorry, my bad. Carry on, Grant. The remaining ready planes, 1 TBM on Bollywood, 1 TBM on Monterey, and the original ready planes in TG 58.3 and 58.4 will hold on deck right now to be launched when we spot either a target or an incoming raid. Yeah, because they ones are obviously the TBMs. They're the bombers. It's the F6S. It's the fighters. So we'll hold on deck right now to be launched when we spot either a target or an incoming raid. We move one more fighter unit each into servicing on Hornet, Yorktown, Bunker Hill and Wasp, whose decks are now clear, so as to be ready to reinforce our defences. We have 5 attack planes ready on various carriers to be used for either more search or a quick strike, but we decide to leave the remaining attack planes in the hangar right now. That means it will take us longer to get a strike ready, but it will avoid planes being backed up and servicing if a raid hits us. Right, that's interesting then. Sorry, I've not carried on with that. If a raid hits us, you will learn about the details of US air missions in Scenario 1. We'll learn about carrier operations in Scenario 3. You will learn about Japanese air raids for Scenario 5. Yeah, I didn't do the Scenario 5. So this concludes the first action phase. The situation is shown in Figure 4. So, yeah. So hang on. What did they do? Yeah, so it's saying there, they're making ready planes. 1 TBM here on Bellewood. 1 TBM here on Monterey. And the original ready planes in 58.3, all these, they're just going to leave them there. You'll notice this 58.4, it only has the 1 CV and 2 CVLs. This is left blank. This is an optional thing, an optional rule you could have, obviously another carrier in there. It says we move one more fighter unit each into servicing on Hornet, Yorktown, Bunker Hill and Wasp. So now we're in stretching across to that. So that was us done our launch. Then raise servicing to ready is where we're doing what we're doing now. So we're allowed to move, and this is where that operations limit comes into it. We're raising, what was it, servicing to ready there. So you can only have 2 in servicing. No, is that how many you can actually move? To 6.23, hang on. Yeah, it says there are limits to the number of air units which can be involved in each plane handling operation. So we're trying to do raise aircraft from servicing to ready, but it's subject to flight deck limits. These limits are explained in the following paragraphs. So planes moved from servicing to ready are said to be raised. Any units in servicing can be raised subject to flight deck limits, which are in force all the time. Yeah. Servicing, it says, I think we can only have 2 in servicing then. Is that right? That's what that says. And the flight deck limit is 3 on a CV. Yeah, okay. So it says we'll raise a fighter from hang on. We move one more fighter unit each into servicing on the Hornet, Yorktown, Bunker Hill and Wasp. So Hornet, so it's only moving one of them. And Yorktown, Bunker Hill and Wasp. So there's only moving one of them up. And the reason, I know there's risks to having stuff on your flight deck if you happen to get hit by a raid, but my guess is there's obviously some risk to having stuff in servicing as well. And that's why it says there that because we could move more from these hangars up. into servicing. But that's what it says. We decide to leave the remaining attack planes in the hangar right now. That means it will take us longer to get a strike ready, but it will avoid planes being backed up in servicing if a raid hits us. You will learn about the details of that. Right. So, yeah, there's probably a bit that I should maybe read up on that. But I think this example of plane might sort of show us what would have happened, maybe, or maybe give us, and then it'll sort of click, if I'd put all of them up into there, that would have been bad, or whatever. If not, I'll try and find out what it all means. Okay, so that's where it's going to leave it, I think. Yeah, we have 5 attack planes ready on various carriers to be used for either more search or a quick strike. So, yeah, we've got 1, 2, 5 attack planes, yeah. What does it say? We have 5 attack planes ready on various carriers to be used for either more search or quick strike. Right, yeah, sorry. Sorry, it was a phone call there. Interrupting there. We have 5 attack planes ready on various carriers. So yeah, it's talking about these. These are the attack planes. The F6Fs are the fighters. I was getting muddled myself there. So there's one there. There's one there, one there, one there, and one there, and they can all be used for either more search or a quick strike. But they decide to leave the remaining attack planes in the hangar, and we might find out the main reason behind all that. Because I think right now, if it was me, I'd be wanting to move these up into servicing. But obviously there's a downside to have them in servicing, which I'm just a little bit unsure about right now. Right, and that's what it said. This concludes the first action phase. The situation is shown in figure 4. So we've got this one air mission out with its fuel at 15, it moved 1 hex. This is air mission 2, but it's a cap, so it's not set its fuel yet. And there's what we've got in our carriers right now. Right, so I'm going to just stop there. Yeah, because that's an hour. And hopefully I can just squeeze this into another part, because I think I could speed it up a little bit. Yeah, we're only, what is it, up to page 12? Well, actually, it goes on to page 13, so yeah, I might stretch 2 more videos, knowing me, the way it goes, but I'm home to get back tonight to do a bit more of this, and I'm off over the weekend, so I'd like to do this and then start my own game of it. Yeah, that's the plan, so fingers crossed. Okay, I'll be back a bit later to start part 2 of this extended example of play. Okay, cheers.